Hi, my name's Verity, Verity Vale, of Verity Vale Hypnotherapy. That's my business. I'm currently based in Halifax, in Nova Scotia, Canada. From the accent, you can probably tell that this is not where I'm originally from. So I am originally from the United Kingdom, and before I came out here, I was on the South Coast. I've been over here now for about a year. When I first came over, I didn't think that I could work and do the hypnotherapy business that I'm now doing, but I found out just kind of a few months before Christmas that actually I can. So I thought, what an amazing opportunity for me to come and spread the word about hypnotherapy and what it is that I do, and to be able to help other people over here. So I set up my business at the beginning of this year, and I've been having clients coming through the door ever since then, and it's really lovely to be able to help people and to be able to spread the word. So this is like a really great opportunity for me to kind of maybe reach some more people, just to kind of help out a few more folk, really. So hypnotherapy, a lot of people will have a bit of a misconception about it, because a lot of people will think of the stage shows that people do where they cluck like chickens or bark like dogs. And those shows are absolutely fantastic. They're great fun, but that's not something that I can or would do with anybody. So the hypnosis that I use is in a very therapeutic fashion. So it's designed to be able to help people. The word hypnosis, it comes from the Greek word to sleep, but actually that's a little bit of a misconception again. And actually you're not asleep when you're in trance. It's actually like a deeply relaxed state where something called the critical faculties are lowered. So those are the bits that are looking out for danger or looking out for the next meal, and the bits that are there designed to keep us safe. So those get lowered when you're in trance or hypnosis, and the brain is then able to focus on problem solving. And so what would happen in a session is somebody would come in and we would talk for the first half of the session, and we find out about what has been good, about where they are, where they're looking to go, and how maybe they might begin to achieve those wonderful goals that they've got. And it's a very solution focused approach that we utilize with people. There are other therapies that are more problem focused, but the solution focused hypnotherapy is very forward thinking, it's very positive, and it's often a quicker form of treatment for people. Now, when people are in trance, again, people think, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Is it really scary or weird? And it's not. It's a very pleasant, deeply relaxed state. And actually what is happening with your brain waves, if you put the sticky pads onto people's heads, then if you looked at somebody when they were asleep in the REM phase of their sleep, rapid eye movement, or you've looked at them when they're in a trance, actually the brain waves are then replicated. So you have the advantage of the good work that's done when people are in their REM phase asleep actually is then replicated also in the trance phase. Now the trance is really very ordinary. Again, people will think, oh my goodness, that's really scary, what's happening? But it is really very ordinary. When we go to sleep and when we come out of sleep, we go through a trance phase then as well. And also sometimes when we're watching television, when we're reading a book or going out for a run, then we can find ourselves in the trance phase then. And also, have you ever driven somewhere and you get there and you think, oh my goodness me, I can't even remember half of that journey? Well, that's a kind of trance then. So trance is very ordinary, and it's a very safe, lovely thing to experience as well. And so people will come in for all sorts of treatments. A lot of things will stem from such things as anger, anxiety, and depression. And as you can imagine, they then all manifest out differently in people, because that will upset the chemical balances in the body and the mind. And so they can come out, and it comes up with, people might have skin conditions, they might have insomnia, they might have migraines, they might have upset tummies, they might develop obsessive compulsive behavior, some people might get addictions. There's all sorts of things that people will come in for. There's the traditional things as well that people often expect, such as weight loss or smoking and fears and phobias. So it really is a lovely therapy that can treat a whole range of different conditions that people have. But also another thing that people don't always know about it is that actually they can just come in for a one-off session. So they could come in and have a mind massage, and it's just a deeply relaxing state that people can get into, and it's a really positive thing for people to do. You don't have to have anything wrong with you to experience hypnosis. So if somebody were to come in for a mind massage, that would be just a really lovely, relaxing experience. Some people might get similar feelings from maybe meditations or the singing sound bowls or anything like that. But yeah, if you're not coming in to actually work on any conditions, that's absolutely fine as well. You can literally come in just for a pleasant experience. But it can also, people can benefit from it for other things as well, such as focus in sporting events, confidence for interviews, a meeting or a presentation that might be coming up, things like that. So it can be used in a more positive way as well. I get a wide range of people that come in to see me. They have all sorts of things. The age range would go from 8 to probably about 80, I think, is the oldest, men and women. So it is a real variety of the people that kind of come through the door, both in terms of age, sex, the problems that they're coming in for as well. An ideal client, again, everybody is really very different, and the fact that people are willing to come in to give it a try means that they're already on board, that they already want to make some positive changes. My strap line is, if you want to change, then I can help. And, there's no point somebody coming in that doesn't want to make any changes or anything like that, because it's just not going to be a positive experience for them. So anybody that wants to make any changes, then I can work with them and we can achieve that. It's very much like we would be doing a tango together. So I don't lead on the tango. I stand behind my clients and give them a little gentle nudge on the shoulder, just to kind of give them a little point in the right direction. Because ultimately, even if it's not amazingly apparent, we are the experts in our own lives, and we know what it is that we want to do and what it is that brings people in to come to see me anyway. The beauty of this treatment as well, though, is it can be done remotely. So we can use the internet, we could use Zoom or Skype to be able to speak to people and to be able to do the therapy as well. So it's a really versatile thing. So I could speak with people from all over the world. So the background to how I became a hypnotherapist is that back in the UK, I was in the police force and I was a detective before I actually took a sabbatical to come out over to Canada. And during my last couple of years over there, I started to think, right, there's something more. I want to be able to help people. And actually, in fact, I had been to a talk where it was predominantly a female audience that the speaker was speaking to, and she did a quick quiz with people, and the score was, how happy are you, essentially 7 areas of your life, 5 areas of your life, sorry, with the point up to 7 being the happiest that you could be in that area. And so the top you could have got was 35 points, and the speaker did this quiz, and the majority of the room were less than about 15 points out of 35 for happiness. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is so sad. This is awful that people are kind of not getting the best out of their lives and they're just feeling terribly sad. So that came around the same sort of time that I started thinking, okay, what can I do to help that little bit more? And I started thinking about different careers that I could maybe look into. And actually a lot of them weren't very practical because of in terms of sort of age and having to re-educate and things like that. So I eventually came across hypnotherapy and thought, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And so I studied for 10 months, once a month, going up to a place in England called Bristol, the Clifton practice of hypnotherapy. Again, they're solution-focused practitioners. And I studied up there and qualified 2 years ago in that. And so then ran my hypnotherapy practice in England alongside my day job of being a detective. And then, didn't think I could do it when I moved out to Canada, but actually fortunately I've been able to, and it's been fantastic. And so I have been able to as well. I've been able to go into some businesses to give talks and to give kind of guided meditation relaxation for people. I've been into libraries to help educate people, to give more talks, to spread the word, really, because it's not a massively well-known thing out here just yet. So it's been really nice to help people, and the feedback is actually really fantastic from people when they just think, wow, I didn't know this. You sort of talk to them about the brain and how the brain works, and how maybe we sabotage ourselves, but also the benefits and the things that we can do to actually help ourselves as well. And so it's wonderful hearing that feedback from people. They just say, wow, you've like put a light bulb on in my head. And it's wonderful when, you get to someone that they get to the end of their journey and they just say, thank you so much. You've just changed my life. And that is a great feeling. It's wonderful to be able to do that. The power of our minds is really quite an incredible thing. And hypnotherapy, whilst it's not a new thing in many areas of the world, it's kind of now the science is beginning to back it up. So it's been around for a very, very, very long time, but actually it's now that the science is kind of catching up with things as well, and we're able to say what's going on in the brain and what's happening. And so that's how we know, when we stick the sticky pads on people's heads and we look at the brain waves, what's happening in there, that we're then able to say that it's the same as what's happening in REM sleep. And so the power of the mind is an incredible thing, if we don't have our mind necessarily on board and heading in the right direction, then we can sometimes just completely sabotage ourselves. And we need to send those really clear, positive messages into our brains just so we know the right thing to do. There's a really clever part of the brain called the reticular activating system. Now, when you send a really strong signal into your brain, this little thing starts to work. So an example of how it might work for you is if you were to go and buy a brand new car, and you've got that lovely red Mini and you think, oh, nobody else has ever had a red Mini. And then you drive back from the garage and you think, oh, there's like 6 other red Minis. And so what's happened is your brain then starts to recognize it, because your subconscious is bombarded with something like 20 million pieces of information in a day, is a statistic I read the other day. And your conscious mind can only really handle about 7 plus or minus 2 at any one time. So there's a massive disparity in the information that the 2 different bits are holding. So that poor subconscious, it doesn't really know what bits that it actually wants to focus on and take in. But if we use our conscious mind to send a really strong signal into our subconscious, we can get that reticular activating system working, and then it starts to know the right things to look out for. So if you would think, right, I would really like to go and climb Mount Everest, what will happen is you'll begin to notice these other little things. So maybe some hiking shoes will be on offer, or maybe there'll be a magazine with a travel offer to go to climb Mount Everest, or things like that. And your brain will begin to pick up those relevant bits of information. And that's why it's really useful. So you may or may not have heard of something called the law of attraction. So it's The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. It's a good book. It's a little repetitive in parts, but it's like that for a reason, so it gets the message home. Now, when we start to, and visualization, when we visualize the things that we want to achieve, when we law of attract the things that we really want to have in our lives, what that's doing is that's getting that reticular activating system working. It's getting it going for you. And so that subconscious thing can begin to pick out those little bits of information or to guide you in that right way. So we don't always necessarily know the end result of what we want, but actually if we, or how we're going to get there rather, but if we keep our eye on the prize, our brains, and trust it, our brains will figure out the little steps that we need to take to actually get towards those wonderful goals that we have. It's not about losing yourself and worrying about the details of the how, just look at the end game and keep your eye on that prize. And so why visualization is a really powerful technique. One of the things that I do is when people come in to see me, I will send them a recording of my voice and music in the background, and it's kind of like self-hypnosis, so people are able then to listen to it. You can do, there are numerous self-hypnosis things probably on YouTube, or ones that you can buy on the internet as well. So you can do the self-hypnosis ones. Of course, the benefit of having an actual practitioner in front of you is the other work that goes on around the outside of it. So for my therapy, the first half is the psychotherapy, and then the second half is the hypnotherapy, which then it just helps consolidate everything that we've talked about. So it's the specially designed questions that we ask at the beginning of the session that gets people thinking in a certain manner. But certainly you can do self-hypnosis with any of the ones that are on the internet. Oh, my watch is fine.
Awesome.